Survivor Series is coming up, and or it already happened whenever this uploads, and it's always a thing that every year I feel like we look forward to. In the past couple of years, they have focused on war games as a match specifically. In lieu of the traditional Survivor Series match where it's your elimination style. I don't know how many people it's like, need to like six, something like that, 6 or 7. And they focused on the War Games match. What is that supposed to mean?
Got him. Damn, boomer alert.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
You said
Oh,
6 or 7. Damn, set his ass up. That was purely organic. 6, 7.
Yeah, I'm definitely boomer right there. So War Games either took place or is about to take place. And Eric Bischoff recently had an interview with the Toronto Sun. And the concept, for folks who don't know, Dusty Rhodes in the 90s helped with the concept of the War Games match, and it was held annually by WCW until the promotion was sold in 2001. And Bischoff did have a hand in promoting multiple War Games matches as head of WCW, including World War III, the World War III pay-per-views in the mid-90s, which featured 3 rings and 60 men in the match all at once. And Bischoff said he never enjoyed the concept of the Battle Royal, any kind of Battle Royal concept. He said, I never enjoyed, as a fan, as a producer, any kind of Battle Royal concept. Multiple people in the ring just pisses me off. I start out aggravated as hell because I'm looking at a ring full of guys and they're walking around in circles and are throwing weird looking punches, and they're not paying attention to the person behind them that's about ready to hit him over the head with something. The lack of logic that goes into any kind of multi-person match, I have a hard time getting over that hump. And then he made the comparison of going to a movie and noticing a boom mic in the first shot. He said that that would completely take him out of the movie. He went on to say, the same thing happens to me when I see more than 2 people in the ring. It just seems so awkward that it takes me out of the moment. That being said, Royal Rumble, that's the format I can get with because you're cycling through people. There's anticipation, there's a surprise and a story. Royal Rumble is an exception, but it's because of the unique format. And War Games, yes, there's some structure to it. I get all that, but I just don't like those kind of matches. Never have as a fan. There's no logic. If you're a fan watching it, you can't put yourself in anybody's shoes and go, that makes sense. None of it makes any sense. It starts out not making any sense and only gets worse from there. So, I mean, what do you guys think of that commentary when it comes to battle royals? He compares multi-man matches to seeing a boom mic in a movie, and he said it instantly takes him out of the moment because he feels like it exposes the artificiality. Chris, do you agree that battle royals and war games inherently look quote unquote fake, or do you feel like that's maybe just more of a lazy critique of bad workers, or rather than the actual match concept itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the workers, and then the camera angles, because it's all about the camera work as well. I mean, if you're live, it's one thing, but you know, like if you're good workers, you could make it work, you know. So I would say it was kind of a lazy critique. When Bischoff said, "No surprise, hate, hate, hate."
Okay, well, yeah, I agree with that. I feel like it's, and you know, the battle royals, like I like them, and again, I feel like going into the wrestling as a whole, you go into it understanding that it's predetermined. So, you know, if you're introducing some kind of special gimmick match like a War Games, Blood and Guts, which is basically War Games but just considerably more brutal. You know, you know what you're getting into, and of course, some of the logic doesn't make sense if there's someone behind you who's your opponent and you're not as aware of the other person. Yeah, I guess if you try to put yourself in those shoes, it doesn't make sense. But I don't know, Andres, what do you think of like war games and those kind of multi-man matches that have like, you know, 5 or 6 people in the ring? Do you feel like you agree with Eric or disagree?
I think he is kind of just being a grunt about it, but I mean, I do kind of see a little bit of his point because I did remember watching the last War Games, um, in WWE, and I did kind of see moments because with the camera, like you have like pretty much like whoever they're focused on, and then you can still see in the background the other people that are fighting. It did seem like there were some moments where like some of the wrestlers kind of didn't know like who to target. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they were just kind of standing there, so it did look a little strange. And then even recently with the AEW Blood and Guts pay per view, I saw a video that was actually comparing War Games to that. There were moments that I did remember seeing in the WWE pay per view where they were like, yeah, like somebody would jump in the ring with like a weapon, and they're like, wait a minute, like it's not my time. They went like back to the ground and stuff like that. So with stuff like that, like yeah, I kind of get it, but I still enjoy them for what they are. Honestly, I still think they're entertaining. You know, I mean, I don't know what the huge like difference that goes into I guess like a Royal Rumble versus this because the Royal Rumble knows I think when they go in knowing who's gonna eliminate who and they know who's gonna win
Right.
obviously. But I don't know. It did at least the last War Games did seem a little bit messy in some moments. Like I did notice when I was watching it live too. So I guess maybe for those reasons, but they're still entertaining. I still enjoy them.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes you see like when someone's doing a spot and then there's someone who just got like, knocked over or whatever, and they clearly look like they're alert and they're just waiting for their like spot. Sure, I guess it could take you out of the thing a little bit, but I feel like I'm so distracted by like this one person with like shards in their back or, other people, bleeding and all that kind of stuff where I don't notice it as much because there's just so much chaos going on. David, what do you think? Like in general, your thoughts on like the battle royal concept where there's like, 5 or 10 people in a ring. Do you feel like it takes away any kind of like magic for you? Do you like those kind of matches?
I like most multi-man matches. There tends to be exceptions, but like overall, I feel like it's more of like a match production type thing, more so than anything else, where it's like good or bad. I think like try not to get too lost in like the standing around and the looking around, because usually in those type of matches, there's something else going on.
Hmm.
That's also like a camera angle thing that so. I
Yeah.
don't think they're bad. I don't necessarily. I think like for someone as deep in it as Bischoff was, like, is a pretty bland answer.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I mean, he was,
I
and
get it.
he was helpful. I mean, like he was in charge of the product, right? So I feel
Yeah,
like, he had the ability not to do it if he didn't like it, unless he felt like he needed to because his back was against the wall and he just like that was the era of like crash TV and the just like crazy stunts like that. So maybe he felt like he needed to, even if he personally didn't like it. I mean, those World War III pay-per-views with like the three rings, 60 men in the ring at once. I mean, did any of you guys watch a World War III match before?
I've only seen clips.
Yeah.
I've seen the old WCW one, right?
It was like three
Yeah, I
rings.
did see one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did see one. It was kind of like it was just chaotic, like kind of like to that point. Like it was just a lot to go on. They had multiple cameras, obviously around. I think like two per ring, I think, on each side, and I
Hmm.
don't know. It didn't.
It's.
It was kind of like it was just like hard to. Who am I cheering for anymore? Like
I mean, it's the sheer
Yeah.
chaos. If it's like the anarchy in the arena, like that shit's fun. you know, that's multi
yeah.
man. They're all over the place. But I mean, I feel
You
like
don't
you
know
have to
which way to
just.
look.
Yep, but you have to
Well,
lean
with World
into
War
the
Three, it wasn't
gimmick of it. Yeah.
with World War Three. That wasn't like a royal battle royal like style, like eliminate over the top rope. It was like, how did you get eliminated from that?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess to his point, when I'm like analyzing certain things where if it's staggered, then it's easier to follow than like even sometimes like the Divas Battle Royal, like literally at WrestleMania and that kind of stuff. They literally just have all of them like just walk to the ring at the same time. I feel like even Miss WrestleMania was like that, where all right, you're all going into the middle of the ring and just start like basically fighting each other to get one over, and like it's hard to follow anything. And even the camera guy was having difficulty like seeing people lift over the top rope. Like even like legends and people you should probably be paying attention to or wrestling, they were treated like, you know, extras in an action movie, right? Like I could see the logic in that from Eric when it comes to that, because you lose a little bit of that the moment, like the storytelling part sometimes gets thrown out the window when you have 60 people. I mean, 60 people in 3 rings, that is pretty crazy. But I mean, if the pay-per-view is called World War III and it's supposed to simulate like a war, then sure. I mean, that makes sense. You have multiple sides, bodies everywhere, people getting thrown out, and then there's a winner. But I don't know. I think like with war games at least, and Blood and Guts, I mean it's staggered too. So I feel like to his point when he was bringing that up, I mean they're also staggered. You know, and there's certain moves that, you know, that wrestlers do as well. If you wanted to use the logic of like taking it out of you, like you clearly can see like if someone's doing a suplex off the top rope, why are you letting the guy let you flip them over? Like there's plenty of time for you to kick them off the turnbuckle. Like they're literally waiting for them to lift them up. So I mean, like trying to apply that to pro wrestling, I feel like is very difficult when you're trying to be selective in your critiques. And he talked about battle royals, but you could apply that to certain moves and things in wrestling in general. So you know, it's an interesting discussion point. I think it's fun to talk about, but yeah, I don't know. But I guess in terms of he said there's no logic to war games and you can't put yourself in wrestlers' shoes. I mean, do you feel like you can tell a good story, Chris, in a war games match, or do you feel like it's just a spot fest waiting for the cage roof to come into play? And I guess you could apply that to Blood and Guts because it's basically the same thing.
I mean, definitely you're watching because there is going to be some crazy spots and everybody's going to take turns to do something crazy. But like if you have 2 factions and there's a good story that's built up amongst those 2 factions or groups of people, like why are they even in the ring together in the first place, then, you know, you could definitely build a story around that or continue a story and crescendo and all that. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess I could speak for myself, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks this, is that, hey, you're trying to see some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to see, you know, oh, what are they going to do? What kind of crazy stuff are they going to pull off in here? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think you go into it knowing that this is Crash TV and you kind of pay to see that. I mean, there are some parts where it begins to be a little uncomfortable if they're extending something. Like for me personally, in the women's Blood and Guts match, when they kept whipping, was it Mina Shirakawa? No. Tony Storm like basically threw in the towel. I forgot who they were whipping, but like their whip, was it?
Yeah.
When they were beating her with like the belt for way too long, I was like, yeesh. Like I thought maybe like 3, and then she throws it in, but then they just kept going. So you know,
Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, literally, that's what it felt like. But yeah, I think for me, I don't know. So, like, I think I do have a limit when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's like, but you can't look away, kind of. But sometimes I like watch it through like my hands because sometimes I'm like, Jesus Christ. But you know, like it's part spot fest. But the reason I brought up like the Tony Storm thing, I think there's a story there within the match because of her giving up and, you know, sacrificing the match because she doesn't want her friend to be in pain. So it's like, you know, there's story beats in there. You know, things like Mercedes. I think she didn't want to get like bloodied and like hardcore as the other girls, and that's why they put that spot of her climbing the outside and then falling into the table and then basically being kind of knocked out for a decent amount of the match. More power to her. Oh, you know, it's just like interesting things like that. And also like adding to her character where she's like, you know, 15 belts or whatever it is at this point, and she doesn't want to get her hands dirty because she's just on top of the world. So, you know, like just things like that. I think, you know, they're spot fests. Sure, they're absolutely things that are like spot fests, like Darby Allin getting, you know, body pressed. I mean, anything. Yeah. I mean, body pressed through a fucking table on fire. Or the ladder through the glass. I think that was too much. That was crazy. But, you know, he told a story in that match too with Sting. it just colored it a little bit with some pizzazz. So, yeah, I think he's right in some parts where it feels like you're walking around in circles a little bit waiting for the spot. But I feel like on the whole, when you take in the spots and, you know, just the spectacle of it, because it's a unique match that doesn't happen as often as it should be, I think it has its place in wrestling, absolutely. So with that, I think I want to move into our next segment.